Before starting it, I had no memories of Grim Fandango per se. Of course, I had seen previews. It's impossible to play games this long and not recognize the face of Manuel Manny Calavera. He even has a cameo in Curse of the Monkey Island. But I had never played Grim Fandango before. Its puzzles were new to me. A quick word on the update. Grim's remastering is more about keeping the history of the game intact and playable to new generations than about making a contemporary reimagining of the old game. As far as I know, it's the same as it was before, with a few minor changes. And so of course it has the same quirks typical of an older game. Namely, it has finicky controls, even with an updated interface. And the item management is as unwieldy as ever. If you aren't constantly comparing the old version with the newer one, the updated graphics and music wouldn't be apparent. Double Fine did a stellar job. It feels like the perfect memory of a game, if you had any. Grim Fandango's progression is segmented into 4 chapters. The game only started to click with me during its second chapter. Notwithstanding that the transition between Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 has become one of my favorite ellipses in a video game ever. The second chapter takes place in the city of Rubacava, and like the locals of Curses Island, it offers a big open area chock full of detail and brimming with puzzles that can be tackled in any order you want. It's also filled with characters you can engage with, most of whom have a ton of conversation options that aren't even necessary to progress in the game. These characters exist, and they live in Rubacava. When you start to explore the town for the first time, it feels overwhelming. The city seems massive, and every corner of the map links to a new place filled with new possibilities. It's hard to wrap your head around everything you could do at first, so much so that you lose track of your main objective. Grim Fandango is not an easy game, by any means, but it's still a little bit easier than most adventure games. That being said, I have spent a massive amount of time in the city of Rubacava. By the time I was done, I knew the place. I knew its many intricacies. I had exhausted every possible conversation option with all of the people that lived there. I'd wandered around for hours solving puzzles without knowing how they would add up to the main story. Even if it's possible that I was the only person there with a purpose, I was a resident like any other. Suffice to say, I lived there. And then I found the solution to the last puzzle and moved away. No other chapter in Grim Fandango is as big and open as the second one is, but they all offer enough possibilities to feel like complete places. They offer options that surpass the mere progression of the game, because adventure games aren't really about progression. Obviously, I wasn't nostalgic for Grim Fandango, but it made me reflect on the philosophy of game design that it came from. A philosophy that was more interested in creating believable places, the living, breathing worlds that marketing departments are always talking about, than about having a strong progression loop to go through. The remastering of old games is such a bizarre concept. Playing them often feels more like sharing an old photo than playing a game. They're triggers for our memories engineered by nostalgia, and the quest for nostalgia is a fickle one. By definition, your memories can't be relived. They're stuck in the past for you to reminisce about. Your friends, your projects, your goals, your successes and failures. But somewhere, stuck deep down in your brain, they're ready to fill you with emotions about things that'll never happen again. Adventure games don't make much sense in my life anymore. Not right now, anyway. I'm the kind of person that plays as many games as he can, wrongfully assuming that quantity provides extended cultural value. And a game that purposefully blocks my progression, as adventure games do, is the exact antithesis of this. I love adventure games for that very reason. I loved playing Grim Fandango so many years after its original release, because it made me realize it. What I had lost in my quest to play as many games as I can, what video games have lost by trying to constantly put the player in a state of progression, is that by impeding your progress, adventure games force you to inhabit their worlds. They create memories, they create nostalgia. You very well may never be able to replay them, as you'll always remember the solutions to those puzzles, but that is the point. I might never be able to live in Rubacava again, but I sure will always remember the place fondly. Thank you all for listening to part 2 of Olivier Bouchard's Remembering Rubacava. If you enjoyed this, you can check out our introduction video. We'll be running more of these in our series called The Bucket List. As always, it means the world to us if you check out castlecouch.com, where we have other opinions and critiques available, and if you have it to spare, you can give us a donation on the right-hand side. Thanks again, and keep talking about games. They're the best.